Adam Peters has done it again. He pulled the trigger, and Brian Robinson Jr. has officially been traded. Let's talk about it. I'm Josh Taylor with A to Z Sports Washington, and the news finally dropped. It happened quickly and out of nowhere, honestly, but Brian Robinson Jr. is heading from the East Coast to the West Coast as Adam Peters has picked up his phone again and called his former team the San Francisco 49ers. Just months after trading for Deebo Samuel for a 5th-round pick, which looks like a steal by the way, he is sending Brian Robinson Jr. for a 6th-round pick in this upcoming draft. And the Commanders are also eating a little bit of that $3.4 million that Robinson was still owed. Now, we're not sure how much of that salary cap the Commanders are going to be eating, but it was a necessary move to make, in my opinion, so you can get the best possible trade value. And there was a lot of teams in the mix. We heard about the Miami Dolphins, but I think the 49ers ultimately looked at their running back room, and it is deflated with injuries right now. And they said, look, we need somebody who can come in and help back up Christian McCaffrey, who's dealing with a lot of injuries right now in his career. So for the 49ers, this is a great move. It makes a lot of sense, and I think Brian Robinson Jr. fits Shanahan's offense, and I think he'll do well there, and good for him. For the Commanders, you get an extra draft pick for the upcoming draft, so you can continue to build that roster. Now they have a 1st-round pick, a 3rd, a 5th, 2 6th, and a 7th, and I'm sure if we know Adam Peters, he's not done yet. That will not be the exact number of picks by the time the draft comes up in April, but we have a ton of time until that happens. But this is also a turning of a new page. Brian Robinson Jr. was a productive running back in his time with Washington, and that might be a little hard to fill in right away, but as we saw in that second preseason game, I think the running game is going to be just fine with all the new weapons that Jayden has, and Cliff can kind of get in his bag a little bit with the running game. But B-Rob did run for over 2,300 yards and 15 touchdowns while he was in Washington, so you have to make up for that production. Where's that going to come from? Well, I think we will see a little bit of more of Deebo Samuel in the running game than we thought we would, especially with that jet sweep that we saw in the preseason game against the Bengals. And then also the offensive line is much improved. I've seen a lot of guys pulling across and moving out in space, and I don't think we could have done that nearly as well as we did last year. But I think this year, that offensive line is going to help out a ton, especially for the new running back group. So I think Bill Krosky-Merritt, he's been the hype of all the offseason. That's the guy everyone, not even just in Washington, but the entire league is talking about Bill Krosky-Merritt, especially in fantasy. But I think he's going to be the change of pace back. I think he's going to be that home run hitter for Washington when they need that burst. And he showed that he can run inside, he can run outside. But even for a fast running back, his yards after contact, his elusiveness, and his contact balance is what stands out to me. But then you also have Chris Rodriguez, who's not new. He's been here. He's one of the former regime picks that somehow made it this far. So they clearly like what they see with Rodriguez. And there's been opportunities where he had to come into the game, and he actually shined. So Rodriguez is probably going to be more of that power back, that short yardage situation, the goal line. So if you're looking for red zone opportunities and your touchdowns in fantasy, Rodriguez is probably going to be your guy. But once again, I'm not rolling out Krosky-Merritt. I think he can also do it in the red zone. But if you're at the 1-2 yard line, you're giving it to the guy, Chris Rodriguez, who can power through the line. So yes, this is a major change in Washington. Brian Robinson Jr. has been your starter, but he did have 3 leg injuries last year, and you kind of seen the writing on the wall where it kind of seemed like the best was behind him at this point in his career. So now you have a new running back room. And don't count out Austin Eckler as well. He was one of the top receiving guys on the team last year, outproduced Luke McCaffrey, outproduced De'Ami Brown, which is crazy to think about. But he also has a big role in the offense when you look at the receiving game. So I think he's going to be that 3rd running back they keep. And that kind of leaves out Jeremy McNichols, who I think could possibly be cut. Maybe he goes to practice squad. Or maybe it's a trade candidate for like a late-round pick swap or something like that as the roster cut downs happen. But nonetheless, we know Jayden Daniels is going to run the ball. We know Cliff Kingsbury is going to run the ball way more efficiently this season than they did last year. And I'm excited to see who breaks out in that running back room. Is it Bill Krosky-Merritt? Is it Chris Rodriguez? Or is it truly going to be an all-out committee?